Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims Info Thoughts video. So this is going to be another video focusing on the upcoming stuff pack that is community voted, that is focusing on knitting. Because there is some stuff on the forums that I missed yesterday that I thought was pretty interesting and worth mentioning. So let's get into this post by SimGuru Sarah, where she says, disclaimer, designs are still in progress and could change during development. I want to share a little bit about the gameplay and the results with you all. The Create a Sim items numbered in blue are the items we're currently planning to let you craft via the knitting skill. So there's 70, 29, 21, 51, 55, 80, and 12 that can be done through knitting. Even though I'm not that satisfied with the overall item pick in general, I think out of these ones, I think they picked good ones to knit. None of those choices in blue make me think, wait a minute, that item should not be knitted. So that's pretty good, because like 49 for example, I don't think it would have made sense to be able to knit a pair of jeans. So overall, I do want a balance between items that can be knitted and items that we can just already have straight from Create a Sim. Going on to the rest of Sarah's post, she says, with the community voted stuff packs, we try to respect the vote as much as possible. This pack is unique in that the CAS assets have actual gameplay implications, since you will be able to knit some of the clothing items. With that in mind, we swapped one adult female top for a child sweater number 80 in order to have something to knit for kids. This child sweater was ranked 23rd in overall votes. The current plan is to let you unlock different clothing knits and objects at different skill levels, similar to how existing crafting skills work in-game. We're investigating having these crafted clothing items only unlock in CAS after they are crafted, but that may or may not make it into the final game. Knitted objects would work like current craftable objects in that they are not available in the build by catalog, but you can craft them and then place them in the world. We'll have more details to share about the gameplay in the coming weeks and months. Why does it take so long for us to talk about gameplay? Because of development schedule for stuff packs, we have to front load art assets, clothing, and objects. When we select these assets, we know the pack theme, the art style, and the major gameplay features, but the specifics of the designs aren't worked out yet, because we don't start working on the gameplay, coding, tuning, text, etc. until much later, usually right before or right after the art assets are complete. I hope you find this information interesting and insightful. Have a great weekend and happy simming. So I'm glad they're being transparent about this, that not every item that's making it to the stuff pack is literally the most popular. I think it was a good call in this specific case, because I think that would have been really disappointing if we were getting a knitting stuff pack and then we can't knit anything for kids. And we already get so many female items in all the packs anyways, so I'm glad that they made a little bit of room for that child sweater. So far, I'm not super in love with this sweater, but the more I look at it, the more I think that it could potentially grow on me once we actually have this in the game, and then I can pair it with pants and see how it all works with everything. And it does remind me a little bit of that knitted crop top we got with Tiny Living stuff. But in this case, I think it is potentially different enough from that one because, well, this isn't a crop top, and I think instead of buttons, it looks like those are little stars, so I think that could be potentially really cute. And of course, there is the design along the bottom there. And the kids did not get any clothes with Tiny Living stuff. They only got hair that was converted from adults. So I do think that Tiny Living and this knitting stuff pack can pair pretty well together. I am a bit surprised that they had to reach all the way down to 23 in order to get another kids item into this stuff pack. But I think it's not as bad as I initially thought, because it's just like you have to go down from 15 items that they already chose, and then you get down to 23. So it's 8 more positions from 15. So I wonder if a lot more female items were there in between those numbers. I do like the idea of having certain items, both clothing and objects, being locked exclusively to knitting, because I think that gives you more incentive to actually use knitting, which will most likely be the reason most people will buy this stuff pack. And if you just have that all available and create a sim, then I think that does make the knitting skill a bit less exciting. Though, maybe if you were to establish a middle ground, there could be a cheat to unlock those clothes in Create a Sim if you really need those right away. That probably is the best option, because then for people like me who do want to unlock everything through knitting as a reward, then you can just simply not use the cheat. But then if you do need those clothes, then yeah, you can just go ahead and use the cheat. But here's the weird thing, there is no cheat as far as I know to unlock all of the hidden Create a Sim items. It's weird, there's ones for unlocking all of the objects, including debug ones, in Build By, but not for Create a Sim? It's not really something that I've given much thought to, but yeah, now that I think about it, that is really weird. That is really, really weird. Why isn't there a cheat for that? Because there are mods, of course, and custom content you can use to unlock those items, but I mean, there should be a cheat just in the game. You shouldn't have to use mods and custom content in order to do that. Not just because of console players, I just think by principle that seems kind of silly to have to rely on that stuff. But in the end, even without a cheat, I think I still prefer having to unlock the knit items through gameplay. I'm interested in seeing how many build objects will be knittable, since we haven't gone through that voting process yet as of making this video. So it does seem like, oh, not that much when you can only knit 7 Create a Sim items, but hopefully there will be another 7 when you have the objects put into that count. It should be interesting too to see how this knowledge will influence all of us going into the object vote, knowing for sure that some of these items will be knitted, so maybe more of us will lean towards objects that can be knitted since we only got just a tiny bit over half a dozen Create a Sim items that can be knitted. Because I did see some posts in that thread saying, oh, I thought we were just voting for the clothing items that are immediately available in Create a Sim, and then there will be a separate process for the Create a Sim items that are knittable. Personally, I think I will try to favor my voting more towards knitted items, but I haven't actually seen the Build By items yet, so it's hard to say at this point. And like mentioned in the previous video, this vote is coming in March, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens then. There is one more post from SimGuru Sarah that I want to go through. So, Peculiar Plumbob says, I also find it funny that the theme is knitting, yet we have tops like 33 in there. I don't know why, but I don't think we needed any more tank tops or jeans, especially for female Sims. And Sarah says, we didn't want to offer only knitted items in the CAS vote. So in the spirit of the arts and crafts theme, we tried to have other options that had potentially handmade crafty bits. Number 33 has embroidery, for example. The jeans, number 49, have sequins/sparkles of some kind. It's good to see Sarah addressing that because in my previous video, I was very critical of number 33 especially. I think those items are fairly plain looking and don't really offer all that much in comparison to what we already got through the base game as well as packs that we've gotten over the past 5 years. But even so, I don't like either of those items, so I'm still really not okay with them. Good for you if you voted for those. I hope you're happy with your choices, but hopefully they could at least make the jeans high-waisted. I have seen some people clamoring for that, so maybe they could do that because I don't think we have enough high-waisted jeans in the game. We have a lot of low ones, but not enough high ones, so at least that could be something that could make 49 a bit more worth it. There is one other poster on that thread that I want to bring up. It's not from a sim guru, but I thought it was a pretty interesting viewpoint. So, Felicity says, only one hat and no socks. Wow, I feel so invalidated as a knitter. My Sims will be the first knitters I've ever heard of that doesn't do fairly regular donations to hospitals and homeless shelters because there are just so many hats. I've never knitted anything in my life, so personal experience is not why I voted for knitting. I voted for knitting because I wanted an elderly themed stuff pack. I'm well aware that people of any age can do knitting, but I normally do think of elders first when it comes to that particular activity. So I thought it would be a good idea. Plus, we haven't really had that much knitting in the Sims franchise before, so it's sort of like a fresh idea compared to the usual like university, seasons, pets, city, living environment, and that sort of stuff. Because we had the sewing machine in The Sims 2, but I think that's a little bit different. And there is yarn bombing the statues in Discovery University, but that's just limited to the statues. It's not just casually knitting at home and making sweaters and that sort of stuff. So with all that in mind, I find it very interesting to hear the viewpoint of someone who actually does knit in real life and to see them disappointed with the choices that won out in the end. And yeah, I do normally think of hats as one of the very first things when it comes to knitting. I think of clothing in general, but yeah, hats, absolutely. I would have liked more hats to make it into the final product. And this is coming from someone who doesn't use hats super often unless it's involving cold weather wear. But I think for a knitting stuff pack, it would make more sense to get more hats. Personally, I voted for 4 different hats, though I was not expecting each and every one to make it in. Especially the Viking hats, though I think it would have been a nice, quirky sort of item just to go with the whole artsy theme of the stuff pack. But yeah, I think we could have used at least one more hat. And that wraps up another Sims Info and Thoughts video, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!